This is the bass tube that I built using this tiny subwoofer. And in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to design, 3D model, and build this bass tube. And after the free air demo, we're going to put some sounds through it. A lot of you didn't know that they made subwoofers this small, huh? Well, if you're an RC enthusiast such as myself, then you would know that this is a marvel. Yeah, I know some people will look at it and be like, well, that's a novelty piece, and you may be right about that. But car audio enthusiasts and RC enthusiasts are going crazy about this subwoofer. As you guys can see, it's very realistic. It has direct leads, linear row spider, high row surround, and a 3-stack magnet that pretty much checks every box that an enthusiast would want. And if you're wondering where to get these little guys from, go check out Big Jeff at Big Jeff Audio and he'll hook you up with some. This is the third video in a series of miniature subwoofer builds that I have done here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the bass tube. So if you're new here, the way that this goes is I first plug in the TS parameters into a free software called WinISD Pro. WinISD Pro would give me all of the parameters that I would need in order to 3D model a enclosure for this subwoofer. Once I got all those parameters, I head on over to another piece of software called SketchUp. Luckily for me, the other day I was in Walmart and I seen one of the employees with a basket full of boxes. I asked him what he was about to do and he said, I'm going to throw all this away. I noticed that he had a paper tube in there and I asked him what he was going to do with that. He told me I can have it if I wanted it. Come to find out, this thing was perfect dimensions for my bass tube. So I took a 6-inch section of it and I started to design. Alright, so what you guys are looking at right now is a 3D representation of the bass tube in which I'm about to build for you guys. As you guys can see, this does have a forward-facing port, and I just kind of wanted to let you guys look at the profile of it and how the port is actually a very odd shape here. And because of this, later on we're going to have to do a bit of cutting to actually get this port piece to fit in here. And I'm going to show you guys how I did that. Speaking of that port piece, I wanted to give you guys a side view of it to kind of like indicate how that port piece is actually inserted into the bass tube. And if you guys are wondering, this back piece right here, the port itself, is 1/4 inch from this back wall, and this actually calculates into the total length of this port. Right here in the color blue, I wanted to give you guys a clear representation of the internal volume of the enclosure. And as you guys can tell, this is 24 cubic inches. And I also wanted to let you guys know that this is calculated after the displacement of the driver. Next up, over here in magenta, you can see that this represents the port displacement. Port displacement in this case is 4 cubic inches. And on screen right now are some of the measurements that you're going to need in order to build this for yourself. So if you got that plan, this is something you may want to start taking some screenshots right now. And here we are again with that port piece that we're going to be having to build. Basically, this port piece is going to require some 45-degree chamfers on the ends in order to fit properly inside of the bass tube. And that's what we're going to be doing next. Luckily for me, I don't have to cut a lot of MDF for this project. I only have to do the front baffle, the rear wall, and a port piece. The tube takes care of everything else. And once I use the drill press to cut out my front and back pieces, it's only the port piece that's a little bit tricky. Let me explain. So now we need to cut a 45-degree angle. And what I want you guys to see here is that this thing has 0 degrees. That's the blade straight up and down. And then you got these stops that you can make, right? Anywhere in between 0 and 45. 45 is going to give you that, you know, chamfer. So that's what we want. In order to do that on this table, you have to release it. Now the blade, I'm sorry, let me show you here first what's going on. You pull it. You see that? You can pull it, then you lock it back like this. So what's going on is you're moving the blade. You see that? Whole thing tilts. We need to put a 45 on here. So what you're trying to do is get the edge of this wood right here, the whole line, to focus or line up with this blade down here, the cutting edge of it. All right, so here we go. And you guys can see I needed 45-degree on there, and I got them. All right, so here's the tube I'm going to be using for the bass tube. And check this out. The 45s are going to fit right in there like this. Let me turn it around, and you guys can see. That's all you need. All I need now is glue to hold it. All right, so let's talk about the setup a little bit. This is the Audio BT10A. This is a Bluetooth amplifier. And the reason that I chose this is because you can control the bass and treble along with volume of this unit. And I thought that this would be the best application. You do not want to overpower these little speakers. These things are 10 watts RMS, 40 peak. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's do this demo. This first track is called Trophy Wife, female vocalist. This next track is called Tumbleweed by Tiger Blood Jewel. All right, so I'm in the middle of testing out bass tube and my bass reflex enclosure, and I started to get some weird sounds coming from this little guy here. And I at first thought it was a voice coil tick, but that wasn't the case. The case is that the spider right there, the spider has come loose. So you can see here, spider is coming loose. It's a relatively stiff spider on such a small driver. It's relatively stiff, to be honest with you, which means that you don't want to overskirt these. And if you're wondering what this is a hair rubber band. I use it as a gasket, so that's not part of the original design. I can take that off. It's just a rubber band. Anyway, yeah, so I have been pushing 3 times the power, 3 times the RMS power through these. And I think that was the problem, that it started to overskirt. And yeah, that's what happened. I mean, one can argue that there's not enough glue on it, blah, 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 but I'm not going to blame the manufacturer for something when I know I was doing what I wasn't supposed to. So what I'm going to be doing here, I'm going to be just taking some of this. This ain't the glue they used. You know, this isn't what they used on. They used the black stuff. But I'm going to take some of this, put a little bit on there, and hope it doesn't make the spider stiffer than what it already is, right? Okay, so the glue has dried on the spider assembly here, and yeah, it seemed to have, you know, stuck it, and it's no longer, you know, detached. It is back on there. However, if I get a closer view of it, you guys will see that I do have some concerns about what I just did. All right, so this is a closer view of it. I'm just gonna give it a spin to kind of give you guys a clear view of what it is that I'm feeling right there in this area right here. You see that? That shininess, that glossiness right there is not supposed to be there. That's the unnatural portion of it. Um, some holes there are actually filled, and they're not supposed to be like that. You see that? I do have a bit of concern about this. Let's give it a press test, and it still flexes. I mean, this outer ring isn't moving at all, but the inner 2.5 ones are. Let's go on the side where we didn't touch. Yeah, as you can see, you got 3 clear rings here, and this seems to be a linear roll spider. Let's give it a press test here and see how much movement we get from the outer ring. You see, the outer ring is kind of activated. You can tell on this side that it does supposed to do just a little bit. But of course, over here with the super glue, it's not going to move much at all. So, I guess on what you can consider a higher excursion performance is where this is going to suffer the most. And this side here may be tighter than the other side and cause what is called voice coil rub.
So you wanna go to a new dimension? And you wanna gaze into a mirror, mirroring a diamond shape?
Thanks for visiting the channel to help you simplify car audio. It's the Budget Basshead, and I'm out.